How you guys doing? My name is Peabody, Blast Motion Ambassador. I just wanted to spend some time talk to you guys about Blast Motion and about a couple of the metrics that I use on a kind of a regular basis, how I use them with my students, how I use them with my kid. First off, I love Blast. Blast is it's an awesome way to kind of figure out, not that if you are a good hitter, using a sensor definitely doesn't, or using the Blast Motion sensor doesn't guarantee that you're a good hitter, but it definitely helps me see my hitters in a different view, to see if they're giving themselves a chance to be a good hitter, to move in a certain way, to get the bat in certain positions, to ultimately give themselves the best chance to be on time, to be successful when they're not on time, and so on and so forth. So to be able to use the Blast sensor to see my hitter swings in different ways has been very valuable to me. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, what I will say is the order in kind of which I use the sensor is I don't always go straight to the sensor. Sometimes we'll do it with guys that I know, but what I try to get my guys to understand is, what is the ball doing? Is the ball being your hitting coach first? Are you listening to the ball? Are you able to watch the ball off your bat and know what you did and how you created that trajectory, that launch angle, whatever you want to call it. And then if you can't listen to the ball, one, we gotta, I want to get my guys to start to understand what the ball is saying and start them to get to listen and know what the ball is doing according to spin and like I said, ball direction, ball flight. The second one is using the camera, setting up the camera. What can we see in our swing? And most of the time for me, because I know what I'm looking for, when we put the sensor on, which is usually the third step, we will see kind of things that we've talked about in the first two steps, as far as, well, now it understands why was your early connection, why we're underneath the baseball, and so on and so forth. So yeah, we want to go, what is the ball doing first? What is the camera telling us second? What is the sensor telling us third? At least that's kind of the way I do it for most of the time. Yeah, let's get into some of the metrics that I use a lot. The first one, or the one that I get asked about a lot, is obviously the bat speed metric. It's important. Bat speed is a very important thing when it comes to hitting. Again, with hitters of young ages, it doesn't matter what your bat speed is, in particularly at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. It does and it doesn't. What I want to say is, we want to get to 70 miles an hour is the goal. I don't think you can get there too soon, but just because you're not at 70 doesn't mean you can't do damage. That's number one. And like I said, to me, it's a matter of, like, what road are we on? What are we doing to create the optimal bat speed that we need to drive baseballs? And for me, that's the most important thing. So the first thing we talk about when we talk about building bat speed is the athlete. Is what type of athlete are we? Are you an athlete? Are you a guy that can even pick up your body and control it in a load? Are you a guy that can launch the middle and move in a good sequence? Can you move fast? Do you even have the ability to move fast at all? So that's very important. And I think that's a thing that a lot of guys don't understand is, for whatever reason. I think the second most important thing is once you have an athlete that is athletic enough to be able to launch his barrel or move athletically, can he control his body? Can he do it in the game? Can he control his body? Can he control his mind and his body enough to, when he needs to launch at that very small window that hitters have, can he do it? And can he do it on time? Obviously, can he do it at an efficient speed? And I think that's another thing that gets lost in guys' bat speed, is their load isn't one that allows them to create power, or it is one that doesn't allow them to kind of store their power as they move forward. They lose their power, and then they take a lesser, weaker, slower swing from there, right? So bat speed is very important in the grand scheme of things. When you're 12, like I said, it doesn't matter necessarily that you don't have the best bat speed. It just matters that you are working towards becoming someone that has good bat speed. And obviously, like I said, that means being an athlete. That means someone that can control their load and give themselves a chance to be athletic. The second metric that I use a lot is early connection. For you guys that don't know, I think bat speed obviously is pretty self-explanatory, is how fast is the barrel head moving. The second one is early connection. I use this tool a lot for people to be able to kind of understand what early connection is. So what early connection is it's a measurement of your spine and your barrel before the barrel goes to the baseball. We use 90 as a reference because it's an easy number to know and to understand. And then we can break away from 90. Like I said, Major League average is 96. So I don't mind if my hitters are anywhere from 90 to 105. But again, we use 90 as kind of a visual reference. And then if they're a hitter that needs to be a little bit more vertical, because again, every hitter is a little bit different, they can break away from that 90. If they're a hitter that needs to be a little bit more in the 90, then they can stay closer to that 90. So again, I find early connection being very important because I find a lot of hitters, they get wristy and their barrel gets out in front of them too much and they go to swing and their barrel's disconnected and they lose it. Or they kind of choke the bat, where the bat is kind of like here in their hand and it forces the bat to be super up and they can't get it close to their body, and then they end up kind of losing it and being underneath baseballs. So that's one thing I try to get, that's one thing I look for when I see people or hitters with super steep barrels. So 90-90, and like I said, I want to reiterate, 90-90 is not, it doesn't have to be 90 degrees. A lot of my favorite hitters now are definitely a little bit more vertical early. Your Acuñas, your Mookie Bettses, your Freddie Freemans, your Olsons. Yeah, it's okay to not be 90 for sure. You just want to make sure that what I try to get guys that are definitely not. It's hard to be up here if you're slow. If you're slow and you're stuck up here, generally you're going to be late and behind. So it all depends. So like I said, coaches that are using this kind of see what works best for your hitters. I've seen, we use the rotation acceleration score. Sometimes I've seen that number go. Generally with the younger players, I've seen that number go faster when you connect the bat to the body a little bit. A lot of younger players, they have that bat disconnected and they just can't move the bat as fast as early as they can or as they should. So that also helps with that as well. Connection at impact is also another metric that I use often. Major League average connection at impact is anywhere is I want to say around the 82 to 83 range. So again, I don't mind if my hitters are 82 anywhere to 90, because again, 90 is a strong angle. So I will be answering questions after this too. So guys that are live, stick around and try to answer any of your guys' questions that you have. So connection at impact, again, it's a measurement of your spine and your barrel like it is early, but it's just at impact. So again, I want guys to be 82 to 90. What you'll see for me is a couple things. Some of the reasons why certain hitters cannot maintain kind of a good like hinge or just kind of bat path or finish is they come off the baseball with their head. You hear that? That's a big coach. Stop trying to pull the ball, keep your head down, stay over the plate. Those are all teaches that you hear a lot from coaches. What I see a lot with certain hitters is, again, it goes back to they're just not an athlete. They cannot rotate and be able to kind of keep their shoulders down. By the time they're tight at the top, so when they rotate, their body wants to shoot up and shoot off. So stretching out the top of their spine is definitely something that needs to happen. On top of just doing drills to create better habits and kind of stretch out your movements as well. I always say that sometimes when you take drills, when you do swings or do a drill that's kind of uncomfortable in certain ways, it's kind of a stretch. So, which brings us kind of to like a closed stance drill. So if you have a hitter that is having a hard time coming off the baseball, before we get into a drill, look at their feet. What you'll see with a lot of hitters that come off the baseball, they put the Band-Aid of getting closer to the plate because they know their body's going to come over here. They get closer to the plate and it allows them to kind of make that mistake. But because they stay so close to the plate, they never learn to kind of fix the ultimate problem, which is just the inability to stay over it. So I always force guys that have a hard time staying over the plate to back up off the plate. Even if they're off the plate already, I'll have them back off the plate even more. And obviously hitters that are too close to the plate, I'll definitely make them back off, because if you're super far away from the plate, you don't have a choice but to have to stay close to it and stay over it and figure out how to stay over the plate. So backing hitters off abnormally off the plate is a really good drill to get them to learn how to stay over the plate. Okay. A good drill to get guys to stay over the plate is a closed stance drill. We see that, kind of in the social media world a lot. Again, I don't know if you know why certain hitters are doing it, but when you want to if you do a closed stance drill, that's just a drill that's going to help you kind of rotate and kind of stretch the top part of your spine out to be able to stay over the plate. Again, this is why you see certain coaches using hockey swings and things like that. But I am a big fan of the closed stance drill. The way I tell guys is just get set up like you're going to run a race in front of you, and then that ball is maybe 12 inches in front of your front foot, and we're trying to hit that ball to the middle and keep our shoulder down. Another drill that I'll use is an airplane drill, or I'll call it the airplane drill. It's a real simple concept. At contact, again, we want to be around that 90-degree range, which means, so I just tell guys your spine and your shoulders, right, are kind of designed at 90 degrees, right? So your shoulders are going to be a little bit lower than maybe you want it to be when you get to impact, as far as like the 90 goes, but it's a good general range. So when I get to impact, or when I hit the baseball, boom, in that 90-degree-ish range, at the end of the swing, I want to be able to extend my arm airplane-ish, right? And make sure that my top hand arm is lined up directly with my left arm. And I want to make sure that my top arm is 8 to 12 inches above the baseball, opposed to being really high above the baseball like that, right? So when you can have a hitter that takes a regular swing and is able to kind of keep their arm out, they start to really kind of find a little bit of a better posture. And another good thing about this drill is, because you have to kind of stay over it at the end, it really helps you kind of find your legs and maintain your lower half after. So that's another good one. And I think that's about all I got. I think as far as kind of the metrics go, bat speed, early connection, and connection at impact. Vertical bat angle is another, is another metric that I use often. Yeah, I preach to my guys, I want them to be around 30 to 40, 30 on the top, 40 on the bottom. Yeah, I think we can save that conversation for another day. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about impact or about blast motion, feel free to shoot them off now. Would love to answer them. Again, I when you guys use this, when it comes to the bat speed, you can't put it on every week and expect a gain. You're not going to get 1 mile per hour better every week. You're not going to get 1 mile per hour every month. So it's something that for me, when I use it regularly, it's more about the swing metric, or like the body metrics as far as early connection and stuff like that. It's not so much about bat speed. You start kind of looking at the bat speed gains, like I said, kind of months at a time instead of weeks at a time. Sometimes you'll have a swing that's off metric wise, and sometimes it's just a swing that's off metric wise. Sometimes it's just a swing. When you start to see chunks of swings that are off, then again, start to maybe think about doing something different and figuring it out. But just because a hitter takes one swing that's a little slow or a little disconnected, no need to overthink it at times. Another benefit of using the sensor is a lot of hitters are very number oriented. You can tell them to stay over the plate or stay taller. They've heard it before. They just, for whatever reason, when you tell them, your bat's at 117, it's a little bit easier nowadays for some of these kids to figure out a way to lower it and get it a little bit closer, as it is with other metrics, vertical bat angle, and stuff like that. So, kids just respond sometimes a little bit easier with numbers opposed to, telling them what to do. So it's another reason why I like to do it. Let's see, we got a question here. Is it okay to have a slight bat wiggle, or should I try to limit it as much as possible? That's a really good question. What I will say is a bat wiggle is fine. Just be careful from again, my experience of doing this is when you have guys that get really wristy and they start to kind of crack their wrist in front of them, those will be the hitters that they'll be able to bring it back, and every now and then everything is perfect, and then it'll be the same hitter that they'll get it to there, and then all of a sudden they can't get it back into there. So what I suggest is, having some wiggle, having some looseness is fine. Just make sure that it's not like too wristy out away from your body. Again, tension free, move it around a little bit, but the feel of like the wrist cracking away from the opposite batter's box is the one thing that I would kind of be careful about. But definitely be loose. If you're a loose, mobile kind of person, don't you don't have to kind of Alex Bregman it. You can have some flow. Just make sure that you're able to control your flow. Like I said, that's a big aspect of hitters not being able to have their best bat speed is they lose their barrel head, and now they can't deliver the head. Or they deliver the head fast, but then they deliver the barrel inaccurately, and you're on time, you have a good swing, or a fast swing, but it doesn't take much to miss hit a baseball. So now we're mishitting baseballs, even though we're swinging fast and we're on time. We're losing it. So how do I keep my kid on plane better? So again, we can kind of talk about what does on plane mean. I don't know. So on plane is, and again, I can't answer directly because I don't know your kid's swing, right? I'll be the first person to say that. To answer how to fix your kid's swing without seeing it is a hard answer. But let's just break down what on plane means, right? On plane means, let's say if I hit a ball at 35 degree, with a 35 degree bat angle, and my on plane percentage was 60 degrees. That means my bat was at 35 degrees for 60% of my swing, right? And then the rest of the first 40% of my swing was spent on my barrel getting to that position. So the first thing I check is, one, is your son getting to a good position? Is your son's vertical bat angle a good one anyway? Is it in a desired place? And if it is, great. And if it's not, then let's start to figure out if it's too flat, if it's too vertical, kind of where the desired place needs to be. And then from there, kind of bring it back and see if maybe a 90-90 drill, depending on what your kid's bat is doing. But if you want your kid to be at like a 35, like I say, if this is a 35, so kind of start the bat at like almost 35, just so he can find what on plane really is, and then he can start to kind of take it away from there and then get it back to there. I am a fan, so I think that's one of the better things you can do is like I said, is know what the preferred VBA is, and then, like I said, kind of get it to that spot and try to swing from there. Again, there might be some load things as far as him jumping and he loses the barrel. There might be some early connection stuff. So generally guys that are outside of that 105 to 90 range with early connection are generally not on plane as good, right? So check. There's feel free to DM me a video or something like that of your kid's swing. J Peabody 7 on IG, or Peabody Hitting on Twitter. You go to peabodyhitting.com on the World Wide Web. There's some stuff there as well. So again, if you have any other questions, feel free, shoot away. If not, again, I hope this helped and I hope you guys enjoyed it. hopefully made you a little bit of a better player, a little bit of a better coach. And yeah, we'll do it again. Till then.